Oh my days. Right, so basically, I'm actually creasing because I filmed the video for the thumbnail because I always do a video and then screenshot it, like a long story. And then I thought, you know what, I'll just leave the camera on because it's not going to take me 10 seconds to screenshot all of the questions that I wanted to use in this video off Twitter. And then 25 minutes later, I've got a clip of me basically reciting the entire of Les Mis, and honestly, it cracked me the frig up when I was editing. So I'm going to leave the clips in of me just singing like pure shite to Les Mis as if I'm frigging Anne Hathaway or some shit. And I'll put a timestamp on the screen if you actually just want to skip to the video. But if you want a bit of a laugh, then be sure to watch this failure of a human being just dead.
There in my castle on a cloud, Cosette, I love you very much. I dreamed that love would never die. I dreamed that God would be forgiving, but the tigers come at night, with their voices soft as thunder in my need. You have always been there. Master of the house isn't worth my spit. Comforter, philosopher, and lifelong shit. One day more, another day, another destiny. Be ready for those schoolboys, they will wet themselves with blood. Trees are bare and everywhere the streets are full of strangers, full of starlight, and all I see is him and me, forever and forever. Who am I? 24601. My friend will sing no more. Right, I should really be filming this video. Okay. And welcome back to my channel. I've just recharged my battery like the idiot that I am, and I've gone through and screenshotted a load of questions that you guys have about sixth form, because I'm very aware that I've been doing lots and lots of videos about university when a lot of you are still doing your A-levels. So today's video is basically about sixth form, how to survive it, how life is gonna be, what you can do, general questions. Last year, this time, no, not this time last year, this time slightly earlier last year, I did a sixth form experience video. I literally forgot how to say that then. I did a sixth form experience video, and I feel like now with a year's retrospect, I can kind of give better advice. So if the advice in this video does overlap with that video slightly, I'm sorry, but this is more of like a question and answer video rather than like my specific sixth form experience. If you want to know about my sixth form experience, I'll link everything where it needs to be linked. The first question is note-taking tips. Note-taking tips is one that I kind of want to do a video on. So if you would like me to do a video on how I take my notes, then give this video a huge thumbs up and I will absolutely do that. It's how to pick your A-levels. I feel like this is a big one, and it's not really one that I can give like tailored advice on, because realistically it just depends on what you want to do. But I am going to say that please do not pick your A-levels based on what you think you want to go into as a career. Right, so like don't take like English and history if you want to become a vet, but what I mean is don't take an A-level because you think it will be useful. Take an A-level because you enjoy it, because when I say that you need to enjoy your subjects to get through A-levels, man, there are so many people I know that took like maths, for example, and ended up just hating it because they took it because they were good at it at GCSE, and then it all just went to shit because they didn't enjoy it, so it just sucked the enjoyment out and they didn't want to work hard. An example of this for me would be English Lit. I wasn't necessarily naturally good at English Lit at GCSE, and I took it for A-level because I enjoyed it, and it was difficult, but it meant that I was interested enough to stick at it when it got hard. Whereas I feel like if I'd have taken maths, I wouldn't have. I would have just dropped it. So I think make sure basically that you enjoy your subject. How hard is year 13 compared to year 12? Right, so the number one thing I felt was different with year 13 compared to year 12 was the fact that you have to apply to university, and that is a whole new level of stress on top of year 12. So basically I personally felt that year 13 in terms of like content was the same, like you would, because it's linear A-levels now, you're just doing the second half of the linear A-level, but I felt like being deputy head girl, applying to university, interviews, doing all of the sixth form stuff like leavers things and prom and all of that, like it just adds a lot of extra stress that you don't have in year 12. So I wouldn't say that year 13 academically is a massive jump, especially now that A levels have like they're not split anymore, so that's not really the issue because teachers will teach it differently. So it's not like you've got a set amount of content in year 12 and set amount of content in year 13, but with coursework, university applications and stuff, you're just busier basically. And then obviously there's that pressure that you literally have exams at the end of the year that are going to determine where you're going to uni, well, even though they don't really determine it fully, but you know what I mean. So yeah, like not more difficult academically, but just a lot more going on. How to go about workload in year 13. So I would say that it can get really stressful in year 13 when you're doing linear A levels because you're learning all of this new content, but you're very aware that you need to like remember everything from year 12. So I would say don't worry too much about recapping content from year 12 too early on. If you have mock exams, then definitely recap it, but I would say just focus over the summer of year 12 or like early in year 13 in getting your year 12 notes consolidated and ready to go, so that when it comes to Easter, it comes to revision time, you just need to relearn it. Like if you've gone over it well enough in year 12, it will just come back to you. I remember starting the Easter holidays and thinking I've not touched year 12 anything since like literally May last year, and it's April and I don't know any of it, but the speed at which it comes back will literally baffle you. Like you will be so surprised if you've made good notes. So if you're watching this now and you're about to go into year 13 and you haven't got notes from year 12, make your first term of year 13 a little bit more difficult for yourself by making notes from year 12, and you will thank yourself when you get to April, because what you want to be doing in April is making all your year 13 notes whilst already having your year 12 notes to start going over. Like you don't want to be making notes for both years in April. So just try and make life easier for yourself now and make the notes. What do I regret not doing in sixth form? A lot of people asked me whether I regretted not getting in a relationship in sixth form. I definitely don't regret that at all. I feel like if I'd have been in a relationship, it would have just messed up my grades. Not because it's impossible to balance grades and a relationship, but like knowing me, I would have just got so distracted and like it just wouldn't have been a good idea. But it's a very personal thing for you to kind of like balance, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like you have to weigh up the pros and the cons. If someone comes into your life, that's amazing. Don't be like, oh sorry, like I'm not going to be in a relationship with you because of A levels, but don't go looking for it, if you know what I mean. Like I personally didn't have anyone come into my life during sixth form that I thought, oh yes, I want to be in a relationship with you, so it wasn't really an issue for me. So I wouldn't say I necessarily regret it because I feel like the opportunity didn't really arise. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. How to manage schoolwork and a job. So obviously I did not have a job during sixth form, like not a hour like shift job, but I did do YouTube like all the way through sixth form. And obviously the luxury of YouTube is that I can ramp up or like die down the intensity based on how much revision I need to be doing. So during exam season I just wouldn't post, and I know that a lot of people don't have that luxury. I would say talk to your like employer and ask if you can get a few weeks off during exam season, like revision season especially, because it's just so hard to balance like long shifts with work, because you're going to be knackered from work and then you won't revise, and it's just a vicious cycle. But if you can't, like it is manageable. I know so many people that did so well and had a job. I managed to do well, and I was still like, my YouTube would take up like the amount of a part-time job, do you know what I mean? It takes up more hours now, but like at the time, even when it was at its lowest, it was still like 20 hours a week, which is quite a lot of hours to be like balancing with A levels, I think. So yeah, you can do it, but if you feel like you're getting overworked, then talk to your employer, and if they're not being nice about it, then sack them off, bitch. How to stay motivated. I would say that year 13 especially, you literally like, it's so hard to stay motivated because you have all of year 12 like on your shoulders, and you have to like push through uni applications and then mocks and then exams, and it honestly feels like it's never going to end. For me, the motivation was always the end goal. I always pictured myself at LMH, at Oxford, with the place, and enjoying first year and having the best time and being at the university that I've always wanted to be at. And whenever I felt like I wasn't motivated, I would literally just sit and be like, if you do not work right now, that dream becomes less likely. And that was always what kept me going. So just really try and envision what you would like your life to be like after A levels, and think about how A levels are such a necessary stepping stone to doing that, and it will really help. Other things that can keep you motivated is just like seeing your friends at the weekend, just having things to look forward to, whether that's booking a girl's holiday after A-levels finish, or even just looking forward to the weekend to go out for brunch with one of your mates. Like, it's so doable, and I would say that motivation is key in terms of just having something ahead of you to be looking forward to, because A-levels do seem never ending when they're happening. What to do if you've left uni decision making too late. I'm about to start year 13 and I don't know what I'm going to do at uni or which uni, and I've not even thought about personal statement and I'm running out of time. First things first, that is so normal. I, if I'm brutally honest, did not make the final decision about what I wanted to do at uni until I went back in September, so you still have time. Also, unless you're applying to Oxbridge, you have until January. That's a long time. You're okay. I would say that if by sort of like October you still don't know, then maybe that's a sign that you need to take a year out and figure out what you want, because there is nothing worse that you could do than hop into a university course that you realistically don't want to do, because A, you're going to know that you don't want to do it and that will probably affect your motivation for A-levels, and B, it's a waste of a lot of money. So if you feel like you're falling behind and you're running out of time, remember that a gap year is an option. You could always work for a year and then do it, or there are other options, like you could do a foundation year. Like, there are so many options that aren't going straight to uni, so do not fear. How to prepare in the summer of year 12, the summer before year 12. Okay, I'm going to do both summers because I feel like, yeah. Summer of year 11, I did absolutely nothing. Like, honestly, I did nothing. All I did was read the books that I was supposed to be doing for English A-level. I read the first 2 books. I read Gatsby and I read another one. What was the other one? I read 2 of the books, and I did like a bit of grammar the week before I went back to school, but I literally did not do anything else, because year 12 is a fresh start. It's going to be a new way of learning, and like, honestly, year 11 is probably the last summer that you're going to have for a while, where you're not going to have to be working towards something imminently, so just chill in year 11 summer. Year 12 summer, on the other hand, I did do a fair bit. So I wrote my personal statement in the summer. I did all of my reading for second year as well, and I made sure that all my notes were kind of like consolidated from year 12. I had been doing it as I went along, so it wasn't too much of an issue, but I just started putting everything in really accessible folders that I knew I could come back to in April. And also I started doing research for my English coursework, because I knew that that was coming up, and obviously most of year 12 summer was taken up with reading and workshops and summer schools for my personal statement. So yeah, basically you don't have to do loads, but do some. How to organise your folders. I actually have a video on that, which I will link down below if I remember, but you know I never remember these things, so if not, it's like one of the most viewed videos on my channel, so go watch. How to work at school without being distracted. If you have a silent room, then I would really recommend going in there. I literally lived in the silent room. Like, if anyone tried to disturb me in the silent room, shit would hit the fan. Like, I'm just saying. Tonight, I'm literally going to lock myself in the conservatory, and I'm going to be like, nobody talk to me, because I'll be sat in my room trying to work and I just get distracted by my phone, I get distracted by people. Yeah, silent room always. If you don't have a silent room, then find a silent classroom that you can work in, because friends will distract you. How did you manage your time after school in sixth form? So a lot of people think that I came home and like did like 6 hours of work a night and I just did nothing else. To be brutally honest with you, that is just not the case. I generally would probably do about 2 hours, 3 hours work an evening. So for example, I'll give you an example. Monday nights I had volunteering, so I would come home, I would have a snack, I would write down all of the work that I wanted to do that evening, maybe make a start on it, probably not, would probably have dinner, and then I would go to volunteering. I'd get back at 8 and I'd probably work till like 10, and then I would go to bed. Tuesday, I had guides, would be exactly the same. Wednesday, I had dance until I quit it in year 12. That was exactly the same. And then in year 13, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I didn't have anything on. So I would usually come home, have a chill, write down what I needed to do, max 3 hours of work a night. Obviously, when it got nearer to exams, I pushed myself a little bit more. But if I'm brutally honest with you, like, two at a push, to be honest. I did most of my work in free periods at school and on the weekend. In terms of weekends as well, I always took Friday evening pretty much off unless I had stuff on at the weekend. And then at the weekend, I'd say I would probably do Like, I would get all of my homework done on the Saturday, and then Sunday would be for anything extra that I wanted to do, whether that was university wise or whether that would be like just extra reading or whatever. But like on average, it's so hard to say because some weekends I would do nothing and other weekends I would do like 8 hours, like a massive study day near exams. But on average I'd say I'd do like 3-4 hours of work a day on the weekends, and then I also had YouTube work to do, and I also had other things and other commitments to be doing. So it varies so much. All I would say is that your free periods are a blessing. Use them while you're at school. Do not fuck about in your free periods, and you really don't need to be working 24/7. My biggest regret of year 12, like my biggest regret, I just worked way too hard in year 12 and I burnt myself out, and I actually didn't do that well. Like, okay, I did well in my exams. I got 4 A's, which is the top grade that you can get, but my A's were much lower than they were at GCSE and much lower than they were in year 13. Like, my year 13 A star was a lot higher than my A in year 12, and I worked so much less in year 13. I just worked smarter, and I remember thinking I've done no work compared to last year, but actually me taking my foot off the gas and giving myself a bit more time to breathe and going out and seeing friends and doing things actually helped. Same applied at uni. This year I had so much going on that I really didn't do that much work, and I actually think doing less work helped me get better grades to a point, you know what I mean? I feel like I've messed that up, but you kind of get what I'm, yeah. Things I wish I did from the start of year 12. Oh my god, well, first thing I wish that I'd done from the start of year 12 was calm the fuck down. I remember everyone hyping up sixth form being like, it is horrible, you will die, it's the worst, it's so much work, the jump from year 11 to year 12 is not manageable, you're just gonna drown in work and you're never gonna see daylight again, and it's just gonna be depressing and horrible. I loved sixth form, I really did. I had such a good time. I had a couple of wobbles, but generally sixth form was one of my favourite periods of my life, and I felt so fulfilled and I loved everything and it was just great. So don't believe that at all. Everyone has different experiences at sixth form. Some people hate it, some people love it, but you will have your own personal experience. I really wish that in year 12 I had, as I said, I just calmed down a bit and like realised that like university applications were a year away, and that like Oxford were not going to kill me if I didn't get 4 A's, and that it was okay to go out and see friends and breathe. And I know that AS levels aren't a thing anymore, so like that's not really an issue, but just remember that you have time, and even in April of year 13 you still have time. Like, you have more time than you think, you can do more than you think, and you are more intelligent than you think. So just calm. I was going to say that I wish that I started my notes earlier, but I actually did just do my notes all the way through. So I would say, yeah, do that. Do your notes from year 12 onwards. Like, every single politics lesson I would come home and I would make a mind map. It got to April and I just had all of my notes ready to go. Every single vocab word I ever found for languages I'd put in a Quizlet. When it came to year 13 I had all of the words from all 2 years. Like, it's so easy to do. It takes like an extra 20 minutes an evening to just add that vocab to a list, or to add that to a mind map, or to condense those notes into a slightly better format than that you did in class. Like, it takes no time and it will help you so much. I remember I got to revision time and I was so glad that I'd spent a couple of hours on the weekend making those notes, because it honestly made everything so much easier. So make notes, do it. Even if you feel like you're going to forget them, you will, but you'll have them to just go straight back to. To juggle work and social life in year 13, it's really difficult, but you do have the luxury of that your social life is kind of within sixth form. So for me, like, I found it really hard because I was juggling deputy head girl, I was applying to uni, I was doing my 3 A levels, I had YouTube, so I was back and forth to London for events, and I was just so busy outside of school as well with like everything that I was trying to frantically do to make myself a good university candidate, that I often felt like my only social life was at school. So enjoy the breaks, enjoy lunch. Like, you can have a social life inside of school, meet up with your friends on the weekend. You can even make your social life a part of studying a little bit, like if you really wanted to. Like, just remember that everyone is in the same boat, and it's really difficult because you kind of want to be that person that doesn't regret staying in all the time, but you also don't want to go out all the time and regret having not worked. So just try and remember that, especially in year 12, literally fine, but in year 13, like when you're getting near to exams, 3 months of seeing people slightly less, but still seeing people because you need to get out of the house, is going to be worth it for the grades and all the friendships you're going to make at your new university or apprenticeship or whatever. So how to approach doing less subjects than at GCSE but in much more depth. This is a really interesting one because this is what I was most nervous about, to be honest. I was literally like, oh my god, like how am I going to cope just doing 4 subjects in like loads of depth? But as I said, if you've picked ones that you love, you will not really notice a change. For me, I much preferred it at A level because I felt like my brain was split in less directions, and sometimes it did get a bit repetitive, yes, but it meant that like your eggs were in less baskets, if you know what I mean, and it was just easier to kind of focus. And also the beauty of doing things in depth is that you learn so much more than you did at GCSE. Like the amount I learn like compared to GCSE is incredible, and you realise that you've just skimmed the surface, and it's actually a really rewarding experience if you let it be rather than be daunted by it, because that's so cool knowing so much about a subject in depth, if you know what I mean. How to cope with drama and fights. Right, there will be drama and there will be fights. Luckily for me, generally, my drama was very minimal in sixth form. But people fall out over boys, especially like at girls' schools. Like boy drama is everywhere you frigging go. I managed to avoid boy drama for the whole of sixth form because I just avoided boys, to be honest. But a lot of boy drama was like around. People fall out, people get ratty around exam time. You know, tension, drama, fights are gonna happen. All I'm gonna say to you is that if you get yourself into the middle of drama, you need to just step back and think, is this fight worth me dropping a grade? Is this fight worth me wishing that I'd done more work? Like, if people are arguing, you can be the bigger person and remove yourself from that and go and do some work, or go and surround yourself by friends that do bring you joy and do make you happy. Like, things are gonna happen. Like, you are gonna get distracted by arguments and fights and drama and hurt and upset or whatever at every stage of life. It's not just limited to sixth form, but sixth form is such a crucial frigging time, and you can wallow about like that breakup after your exams. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously I'm not saying don't feel anything, but like, say if you have a massive fight with one of your friends and your exams are coming up real soon, just think, okay, I can't do anything more about this situation right now, but what I can do is channel this anger and this energy into something productive like my grades, and I can try and solve this after exams when tensions have dissipated and things are better. Like, so many people fell out during exams in my school and like around like people that I know, and sometimes it's best to just step back and give people the space that they need to do their exams, because that could be why you've fallen out in the first place, because exams make stress and tensions run high. People change, do things that they don't mean to do. I was a different person during exams, and I regret so many of the things that I did and said to people. So just remember that friendships can be resolved after exams. Exams cannot be resolved after exams. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you have taken something from it. As I said, I will link my folder video, my sixth form videos, and just generally any videos that I've done about sixth form in the description. If you want any more videos to do with A-levels, let me know and I'll be happy to do them, because I know A-levels are such a stressful time. If you're going into year 13, good luck. If you're going into year 12, good luck. If you're going into any school year, good luck, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye, guys. Mwah.